All right. Okay. Get on the phone. Kind of forget forget a little bit. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the Halloween map.
That's right. There we go. Be all set up. Now, so you're rotating the tires. So you're just using the lug nut wrench slash jack handle that comes with the car.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have others, but yes, I was using that. I have a T wrench or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, star wrench.
Yes, I have one of those in there, and that's what I ended up finishing it with.
You know, because they're cheap and they're actually pretty decent. Um, and when I say cheap, it's like under $100. Uh, Walmart's, I think it's their uh Hyper Tough brand has an impact that is like under $100. I want to say it's like $80 with battery and charger and all that, and it's good enough to do wheels and stuff, and among other things I find to use for an impact. Have to do it by hand.
I always thought about because I can't remember what brand I have offhand, but I always thought about doing if I got battery operated ones, I'd do the same ones that I've got
What
for
what
everything
brand?
else.
Oh, you don't remember what brand? I mean, I have all
It's the
Milwaukee's.
it's the dark green one of the dark green
Well,
ones.
probably Ryobi. Well, their stuff is uh inexpensive.
But
But I saw a YouTube channel that
so
tests this stuff, and they tested it, and it's like it kind of it blew them away as far as how much you know loosening and stuff torque for uh the money. um
mhm.
Actually, wasn't it was a good. I mean, they kind of have a ranking chart of that stuff, and they're like, well, this is a really good value, for a Walmart brand. It actually beat out their, because they have two brands, Heart and then this Hyper Tough. Hyper Tough's generally more the more I guess arguably the more generic, I guess, or the lesser. It's supposed to be the lesser of the two, and it's actually the better of the two in this particular category. Um,
Yeah, no, I was I mean I started with the oil because the oil just needed to be changed, and then this time of year I always go through the battery terminals so I don't have hopefully don't have any battery issues over the winter.
yeah.
And then
Unlike Derek, where he can just throw the battery cables in a general direction.
and then um and then I needed to rotate the tires and um yeah, I just used the jack that comes with the car and like I said, I was using that wrench and
Yeah, well, it's just enough to do it in emergency, for example, but
yeah.
that ain't, that's about all.
Yeah, and but so both both my pickup and the Impala have those star wrenches in them.
Yeah, well, that's what I do is want to keep a star wrench in every vehicle, because if I ever do, which I never have to do a tire on the side of the road, but if I ever do, I want it as easy.
Yeah, I have. Actually, I had to do one on the interstate. That was a scary deal.
Yeah, that's what's funny is I've never had it happen. They're always go. I guess it's because I check them all the time, and when I notice they're going down,
Mine, it wouldn't matter if you checked them or not, because it's there's just always been something that have hit in the road, and
well, I guess that's what I'm saying. I guess I've always been lucky and never hit anything.
Yeah.
I always figure you will one of these days, but I don't know. I've always gotten lucky with everything. I mean, of course, even well, I shouldn't say that. I probably changed when the side of the road back there. On country roads, you're always hit. But I mean, the pavement and stuff, I rarely have. I mean, yes, I've gotten screws in the tires, but they either caught it or something. Again, like I said, I've just gotten damn lucky they don't fly out while I'm actually driving and fall. And but again, and that's the thing is of course, the pickup I carry a more regular hydraulic jack just. Yeah, if I had to, the factory thing will work. Yeah. But even the cars, I have cheap hydraulic because they're. I mean, again, emergency, use it once, and whatever. The scissor things are, fine. It's just they can be hard up and hard down, and then they can bend if you're not careful, and then you're really.
I had one fail.
Yeah.
On me before. I mean, like, yeah, it twisted and failed. But I guess I don't exactly know what to replace them with, and
well, I mean, the ones I have are those.
At home, you want if you can get a floor jack, that's probably what you should use. But
well, that's what I have. But they're those. What they are is they're. I mean, you've seen them, and I mean they've been some Chinese companies making them since the 70s, or whatever. I mean, actually, but it's a floor jack style, okay. But it's it's not like a low profile or it's not like the the I don't know, the ones like you'd see in a shop or whatever style. Those are too big to too big to just have around for emergency. These are a smaller. Yeah, I mean they're if you had to use them all the time, they're not great either. But they're sturdy. They're sturdy. I guess that's what you're getting out of them, and then hydraulic. But like on modern cars, a bottle jack, I mean, would work, but not ideal. Like, I mean, your pickup, yes, and I have one of these and a bottle jack just in case, and of course, motorcycle trailer and stuff. That whenever I have to, if I ever have to do that, and then I got this new trailer. So, but with it's a double axle deal, what I can do, I got a ramp, specially designed ramp that you can just back the other wheel up on. Of course, because their axles are tied together with the springs, it'll raise the up. Technically. You
I didn't get as much. At least I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. But at least I got the Impala technically winterized, but not in the not in the same sense that people think when you say winterize, because it's more
Change the
like,
air filter while you're at it. I mean, I always, well, not every oil change, but I do it once. But I'm not driving in dirt anymore. But back then it was at least driving on out here is not a big a deal. Back there, you know,
yeah.
and if you're on the highway, you're like when they're farming, you know.
No, I hadn't checked that part yet. There was a few things that I hadn't checked. I did check the belt to see if it was, but it's also due for its maintenance, so some of that stuff I'm saving for that too.
Well, yeah, and as long as it's
I just wanted
10
to
years
like the
old,
one reason I checked the belt is I just wanted to make sure that the belt would at least last until I get to doing the maintenance, the other maintenance stuff. I mean, like the plugs and wires and all that fun jazz.
let's see, I forget. Well, no, you don't have the 30. Yeah, you said you got the 35 in it.
Yeah, yeah, it's got the
Okay, I'm not as
3.5.
familiar with that engine. I was going to say the 3.8. Of course, but I have a tool that makes getting to the rear one easy. Well, easy because it's a tool that you take the front motor mounts off and then it basically it's a little describe it, but you can got a screw type thing on there, so it's kind of like the scissor jacks, but it'll roll the engine forward, give you the a lot more room to work back there.
Yeah.
But the 3.5 might be easier to get to the way it sits in there. I think it's a little bit more compact. I know
Yeah,
the
it
3.4
is.
that was in my Grand Am was like it doesn't have top motor mounts. It was okay. I don't want to say terrible. It wasn't. They weren't fun. You couldn't see. You were doing it feel, but also there was enough room you could get your hand, socket extension. But my Impala, or with the 3.8, even with an extension, very little room to work. But if you roll it forward, you get like opens up 6 more inches of room to work. And of course, I've used it. I had to the down because that flex connector. Got another field to do?
Yeah, yes. If you look towards the truck, you'll see a yellow field off in the distance.
Oh, okay.
I'm facing it right now.
Yep, I'm looking at it.
Because
Okay,
we own all the fields on this map, so.
Okay.
And that'll be the last field that we have to do. Yeah, I got the handle for the clips. I was gonna look into that because I'm hoping I don't have to take that door panel off, but I might have to because I don't know if those bolts will sit there or if they're ones where you need to be at the backside to get to them. But otherwise, the rest of it looks easy.
Which clips or which part of the
well, the door handle. So the bottom, or what I would call the bottom, like technically it's not. It's
is this the new car or the?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Well, usually, no, that whatever. I mean, there might be a little trim panel, and there will be like a little, there'll be there might be a little trim panels, probably 2 to 3, depends, screws, and they go into. There's no nuts or something behind there. Those should
probably if I'm taking the panel off, they should be those they're kind of like a clip, but they're a clip that holds a screw.
Well, oh yeah, I know what you're
What,
saying. They call them
what we're
tinner.
talking about.
Yeah, they call them Tinnerman nuts, but those usually won't fall out. But if they do, those are
But,
at the
but
auto parts.
so on the handle itself, it has a bolt at the top and a bolt at the bottom, and they're actual bolts. I just don't know what's on the backside of them, so I'm like, I needed to
Yeah,
YouTube
you'll
or
have to
Google or
do well. Yeah, you'll have to pop the and uh, go to the auto parts. Get it probably will come in a kit, but a door panel removal tool or the kit that has a bunch of little plastic pry bar things. Some that are like forked, whatever. You'll have to find all the clips that go around, and you're gonna break. I guarantee you'll break a couple of them, but they're common. Like they'll have them at the auto parts store. They're a couple bucks, or a pack of like 4 or 5 are like a few dollars. Have those on the those are usually be just like on a hang tag on the shelf kind of thing. I mean, get what you got in town there, Big A or whatever. Oh, you got O'Reilly's. They'll be on the shelf.
yeah.
I forget. Or CarQuest.
We have an Napa and a O'Reilly's, and
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if
Napa will have better selection, probably. You already got the grain cart coming?
yeah, I'm moving the other stuff over.
Um, but yeah, and then as far as how the the door handle attaches is, I mean, it's going to attach to a rod. There will be plastic or a metal clip that just kind of flips and swings away. It's like a, it'll just be a little kind of 90-degree hook that it hooks into. Probably it'll be painfully obvious when hell YouTube it, and somebody's probably should. I would do that just so you know where the plastic clips are around the door panel, how many and where to pry. I mean, yeah, probably. And yeah, and then those screws they're just into a cap, probably into like a captured letter or something, like what they. It again, it you kind of gotta investigate how it's sort of put together because they can be, I guess. I mean, and I say this because I just well, this weekend I've had it off twice because I had to replace it's a unit that all the switches for the window Acadia. One of the window switches was acting funny in a connection, so couldn't always. And but it was pretty it was pretty straightforward. But I did found a diagram video, showed me where the clips were just so I wouldn't. Yeah, it was 3 actual, happened to be Torx, and the rest was all. And then I'm also putting new speakers in, buzzing. But I found out I needed an adapter bracket.
Yeah.
But again, it was a couple. Well, with 30 a minute, get it off the second time after I knew everything was. But there was a couple little trim panels that hid some of the screws to get.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, at least I got the Impala done because that's really what I needed to have done before winter gets here. The other stuff I want to get it done, but if it has to wait a little bit, it can wait. Yeah. So I think it was either today or tomorrow is our last warm day, and we have a chance of snow.
Well, yeah, next week's. I don't know if it's snow. But yeah, so this weekend I got, like I said, I just got little things to do like that all.
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
speakers. Because well, and that's the thing that, it's a new enough car that, like, all the chimes and stuff, like when the doors, all the little warning stuff, like our old cars, had buzzers, dingers that were a separate thing. Well, it all goes through the speakers, but it goes through the speakers, but I think it only goes through the front speaker. So, like, when it cuts in and out, it's like the chime gets louder and softer. Oh, and even the click, the click, click, click when you're got the turn signal run through the radio. It's not even You're not just hearing the actual turn signal relay thunking. So it's like, and Katie likes to live down and it's buzzing.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of talked about this, but I just bought pretty cheap speakers, but I mean, they're gonna be, I mean, for the price, they're gonna be better than what I had my Valiant for the speaker, and I paid a lot more back then.
Yeah.
No, I mean they're not like competition, but I'm saying it's like you can get the good stuff is now, or better than stock stuff is good.
Yeah.
Or pretty decent.
Yeah, I think parts, like everything else, parts got a little bit cheaper. So so it got a little bit cheaper to put them in, and then on top of it, like I think everybody realized that people want to be able to listen to quality sound when they're in their vehicles.
Well,
So
and to speaking of that, so like, we have two Acadias, and not that they're anything special of a vehicle, but one is the high trim model, and the highest trim model, and has, quote, Bose system in it. And I always thought when that it's like, well, yeah, they might put slightly better speakers, but they're still just paper. I mean, it's got like 10 speakers in it. Well, even the bass has got the bass has like 6, but when I was looking it up, it actually has, like, okay, now they're not competition, but it's like they're not just paper speaker. They're decent, and they have like a little. They were actually kind of engineered. So like the mounting is even different than the base model. It has a closure and stuff to improve the sound, even for those kind of speakers. Which I thought was interesting. And we always wondered why our white one, just we listen to CDs and stuff, just has a fuller, richer, of course, bassier sound. There's well,
Mhm.
there there's I forget how big it is, but it's, I mean, it's all custom, but there's a subwoofer in the center console. like a 6 or an 8 inch, or maybe like 7. It's like some weird size, but like it's a custom injection molded box with ported and stuff. So it's actually, and then it's got got a separate amp for stuff. Geez, and that, that's cars 10 years old or better, and that kind of amazed me that they actually, when you bought premium sound these days, it's actually legit kind of a premium sound. you know
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, think about, well, hell, actually, my pickup, my Dodge, it's got the premium sound. The guy ordered it with a premium sound package, so it says indoors. It's got 4 speakers, but they're nothing. They're nothing special. The difference is versus the stock bass sound is that you just got two like 4-inch speakers, where this gives you the 4-inch and then 6.5. So yeah, it has a little bit better sound and bass, but I mean it's kind of gimmick, I guess, in a way, kind of gimmick. It's in a pickup, or a pickup
Yeah.
of that era, which were still generally designed around work. you know
Yeah.
Luxury wasn't selling that. Yeah, this is I was actually impressed with. But yeah, like the replacement stuff, it was hard to pick. It was even hard to pick just a cheap speaker. I mean, I went with a name brand, but it was even in that, it was hard because like Kicker had something in decent, looked like it'd be decent for this was all under $50 for a pair of 6.5 speakers.
Yeah.
We were paying that, for those kind of stuff, we'd have to pay $100 back.
Yeah.
Video Kingdom or wherever, or Midwest Auto Sound places. But yeah, they all them brands, all had and I'm sure they weren't, it's the good in their lineup, but they were, like a whatever. They weren't a paper woofer. They were rubber surrounds. They were in some kind of plasticky type cones, durable, and then three-way, so it had a little mid tweeter and a tweeter, and then like mid range.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. You had to pay more to get a 3-way regular. Yeah, I mean, it kind of build a system again. Like I just commute, so
I had thought about it. I mean, I have thought about it in the last few cars. I thought about it when I first got the Monty, but the Monty actually had like it was kind of the same thing. I can't remember what. Oh, it was I think they were a Bose system in them. And then, when I got the Impala, I was thinking about. I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, I want to do it when I first get the car, so that like I go through all the effort. It's gonna
listen to it.
Yeah, not have to sit there and like
Well, and that's
put
the
it
same.
in
My Impala, I wished I would have done it all them years ago, just because
Yeah,
I've had the car for
wanna,
15 years now.
I don't want to put it in and then find out that I'm gonna have the car for another year or whatever. It's like if I'd have done it when I bought the car, then yeah, I'd had it in there for a few years. And anyways, I have thought in the past about doing it, but like you were saying, I mean, just listening to what I have in the Impala has been good enough for what I do. So
Yeah.
um,
Well, and
it
that's
it thumps a little bit. I don't think there's a subwoofer in there anywhere, but
no, it wouldn't.
it definitely has a little bass to it when it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I plan on having the Impala longer, but I just wished back when it was our trip car, kind of wished I invested a little bit, because I recently had to replace the front speakers because they were finally buzzing, and it's like, well, the foam was there was no foam left, and probably
Yeah.
been that way for a long time, and I just like never noticed. Like, well, maybe I should go to the effort and put the deck speakers, put this decent, good 6, but get a little bit more out of because I listen to the when I'm not listening to the radio, I do, and it's not like I'm shooting now.
Yeah.
You know, the last thing I kind of put sort of say that sort of was my Ford pickup. Drove that all around riding. Had a son. I still have that. I could put that. Kind of should actually.
Yeah.
It takes up a lot. It's just and it's I forget. It's not. It's some. Actually, I know it's something I bought it. I bought it at Pep Boys, so it's some kind of no-name brand. But it just, you know, again, there's effort I got to run. The chore.
Well, it's not only that, but unless you have an aftermarket head unit and stuff, if you're gonna go through that effort, you need to like replace the whole thing too.
Well, that's the other thing. What I replace. Well,
You,
you
you
didn't
can't just
have to, but I wouldn't have to because there are adapters to get a preamp out.
on these Impalas there are, or is it just your Impala?
Mine, because well, no, if you go to Crutchfield, there you'll see it. There, I believe there's a harness that'll give you breakout preamp to then go to a sub. But I mean, you're right. Still got to take the head unit out to get to that. So it's like, well, but might as well replace the head unit. I guess the thing is, though, that is like, Pala's even new enough, you know, it's got the oil life mod, some of that junk there. So, not that that matters that much, but there is some kind of, you know, the settings are stuff, and there's ways to make that all work with but again, one of those not in the. I mean, I'm in the car. Well, 40 minutes a day. 20-minute, kind of like 20 minutes either, or call it maybe an hour at bad traffic. Like, I don't know. You know, is it worth it? Because I don't listen to music that whole time because I do some talk radio, but then at commercial, and that's when or if they're not talking anything I care about listening to, then yeah, I go. I mean, I have been listening to my CDs a lot more this past year. I busted them out, and so again, the Skull Crusher mixes get in there, and other burnt CDs, and then the ones I've even thought about pawn through the Goodwill bins or Second and Charles had cheap.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what, you know, like buck or two piece. And I mean, I know I could get an adapter and just navigating the app and fooling around with, or I could Bluetooth and stream that too.
Which is pretty much what I do.
But see, that's too much. It's too much. It's not convenient. Too much setup. Get started because I don't like. I do it on long trips.
With the Impala, because it has the input, I have my phone actually plugged into it.
Yeah.
but with the pickup and the Eclipse, I have to transmit it with a Bluetooth. Oh.
Yeah,
Which the pickup I really have to because the antenna broke um, in an in the an ice. I don't want to say ice storm, but ice collected on it and vibrated it to the point where it finally broke. And plus, it'd been, I don't know, it was like 20 years old too, so it's been through a few things.
here you can get that strip and then.
Well, yeah. Um. Anyways, I can get a little bit of radio with the pickup, but obviously it hurts the what it can get, and but the Bluetooth it has no problem with. So I listened to a few different things. I mean, I got it's kind of a I don't know. It's kind of a one because I got Spotify. I'm just on there for free,
Yeah.
and I know Spotify isn't necessarily good for artists or anything because they don't pay them worth
Yeah.
anything. But I also got like, here's my other problem. I've spent all my time. I've got like, I mean, I shouldn't say all my time. I've thrown stuff on there as I possibly can, but now I've got like 32 hours in this library, so it's like I'm gonna use it because I've pretty much moved my whole library from CDs and stuff to it. So yeah, it's not a good platform for paying artists and stuff. But I've already put all the effort into it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing on. Oh, yeah, I do on my phone. I do well because I keep it on SD. I also have all, and I have multiple copies all over. But I have all the MP3s I've ever ripped of all the CDs, and then also music I downloaded back when I used to do peer to peer stuff, kind of like Napster, but not. It wasn't Napster,
Yeah.
but like peer to peer file sharing.
Yep.
Like I have gigs and gigs of MP3s of all this stuff that I downloaded back in the 2000s, ripped or ripped.
Hmm.
But I don't. I mean, with like here and stuff, but like with YouTube and again like Spotify, other handle. Um,
I think I think I think I'd have caught you with the one corner of my.
yeah. Um, trying to go fast, but anyway, with yeah, like Spotify, Pandora, that kind of. I don't actually listen to my MP3s, and a lot of times I just let a video mix.
Yep, I do
Play.
that. So I we've kind of talked about this a little bit,
Yeah, we.
but this is kind of an expansion of of this. So yes, I in the mornings because I grew up in the MTV VH1 era. Um, I watch music videos first thing when I wake up, but I was also kind of expanding on this. I'll find the mix like off the song I'm listening to or whatever,
Right.
and listen, and then basically that's my whole morning all the way to work. I'll when I'm in the car though, I flip the phone over so that it's not up and I'm not watching, and um it's plugged in so I can listen to it.
Yeah. Well, and that sort of speaking of that, and kind of the reason why I still listen to terrestrial radio is also I do like some of the morning show stuff, like again from talk radio or even the shock jock, I guess like the Willie B.
I think we parked the combines over here because we're that was the last field.
Yeah,
They're kind of out of the way over here.
But yeah, and because they will talk about some local stuff, and I'm not talking necessarily stuff. I'm talking, just local pop culture or just local event stuff,
Mm.
that sort of. I mean, and like I said, I have a limited time in the car, so I kind of all listen to music the whole time. The music is when there's breaks.
Well, the only time I listen to anything talk is actually at work. Um, there's a few morning shows that I like to listen to, and it changes from day to day because there's actually a lot of what I'm listening to is I like to listen to the first thing I listen to in the morning every morning when I get to the radio is sports, and so there's a out of iHeart, out of Minnesota, there's a rock station that does sports the way that I like because they'll talk about hockey and stuff. Okay, one of us can take the tractor, the other can take the semi.
Okay, I'll take.
I'll lead you over to where we need to take the semi. And then there's a couple of shows that I listen to because I like to listen to their game shows that they play because one of them's like an 80s, well, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s trivia game. And then the other one's kind of interesting. They go out and find they go to bars, find drunk people, and then they ask them 3 questions. And the point of the game isn't for the people at the bar to get the right answers. Like what they do is they decide if the person's going to get it right or get it wrong.
Okay.
And then that's how they score the game. And I've just kind of always found that one kind of fun. Well, I mean, you never know what the drunk person might say, but I also just kind of find it fun.
Yeah, I guess. Well, and I know a lot of people podcast, which I don't, just commute. But like, for example, when I take a long trip back there, I will listen to some things like that. Not, I mean, I'll mix it up, of course, hours of driving, but like when I get tired of first, I still have to sometimes go back to the radio and find something because you don't get internet the whole trip.
Yeah, no.
You know that because
Yeah,
I'm not always on the when we're on the interstate, it's different.
There's a point on the radio if you back. I mean, this is going back, but when we used to drive, if we didn't have the CDs and whatnot, there's a point listening to the radio where the only thing you could listen to is the I
soccer,
don't
a
know what you
baseball
call it,
game.
the God channel
Well,
or something.
yes, that's the thing. You know, some channel that's has a. I swear, me and Katie joke about it, or used to joke about it, kids and stuff. Like because we'd be driving at night and stuff like that. So much, but it's like you'd flip the radio around, and yeah, you either got church radio or whatever, or there was always some baseball game on. It doesn't matter what time of year it seemed like there was always a baseball game on some radio uh station, some AM station, you know. It's like, my God, it's like baseball ever end? I mean, I don't like baseball. You know, I mean, I'll listen to foot, you know, or matter which one.
I'm blocking the one that you can't go in.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad. I figured as much.
One's a dump point and one's a fill point.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Oh, this is a dump trailer. I'm like, wait a minute. Why isn't it letting me?
Let's see. It'll take a second. It's not a fast dump trailer.
Okay. Oh, there. Well, I didn't. I kept looking down. I was like, am I pressing the right button? I think I am.
Where? That's not what I want. Up there.
I wonder, like, you know, now that seeing some of 25 and stuff, and well, this stuff looks good. It's like 25 seems.
Mm-hmm. I'm having I mean, you can flip over. I got us tractors and
Oh, okay.
the next thing. Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to come back to 22.
I
I want to play
imagine
20.
it
I
is. I
want to
mean,
play 25.
well,
Well, even casual and I last weekend, because we were supposed to play 22, because we were supposed to be finishing up at least the one map, and we may be doing one more before we completely switch over. But I I didn't get back as early as I thought I was going to, and then which is okay, and then um so he had already started on his 25 map, and he was like, well, I could join in. See, that's one of the things I kind of wanted to see if I just didn't know it worked in 22 all these years.
oh, was that what you're trying to, or before we started? I mean,
yeah, where I load in like where I start a map, and then I can load it in as a multiplayer, and I'm because that's what we're doing in 25. But the reason why I think it's possible in 22, and I don't know how long it's been possible, but I noticed, like, when I play a multiplayer map that the buildings aren't there and stuff, but then someone else, I'm watching another streamer play a multiplayer map, and they have all the buildings where they're supposed to be and everything, and it's like, well, how did that work? Did they I know some of them got servers, and that makes a difference too. But is this mulched already? Well, this is okay. If this is good to go, then we need to go to the next one. Um, it's not really giving me. It's kind of giving me a mulch
Well, it
power.
looked like it was doing something. I was back here watching you.
Harvested. Let's see. Yep, it is doing something. It's just it's barely. You can't
Well,
really
I
tell.
thought I could say, oh yeah, you just barely can see it, but yeah. Oh, go away.
I'm setting my GPS. Anyways, I when I got back, then I jumped in on his map, and so we were playing multiplayer on it, and it's like I don't know. I'm guessing probably could have done that, and I just didn't never know it in 22 until now. But I know some of those people. They're running them on servers, and
That probably
I
makes
have
it
always
different.
I've also thought, yeah, I've always thought that probably made a difference too. But I know I'm enjoying it. I'm trying not to play too much of it right now because with 22 here in about I don't know, it was about January. I got burned out of it. You know, like I already got burned out of the game because there was no maps to jump to, and
Yeah.
I was tired of playing the same map. But I think a lot of it too was that I didn't have I don't want to say continuity, but not but like I was like I'd change my mind every 2 weeks. Like I'd start something and then I'd change my mind. But it all started with the game was kind of broken when it first started.
25 or
22 was. I mean
yeah, well,
20
yeah, I remember that because I
because
got it.
I had the problem with the contract, and then it kind of just ruined kind of just ruined everything for me because because uh because I wanted to play realistically, I kind of wanted to build a farm up and everything, and I couldn't do it. Now in 20 there are in 25 there are a few little issues, but nothing that's keeping me from trying to build that farm so far. Granted, I'm only in like the third month, so
Well, that's why I'm going to get it sooner than later, but wait till, a few mods get out. I mean, I happen to, because watch that one video, I got recommended another farm company. 10 new mod, had a video. It was a
yep.
short video, so I happened to watch it. Oh, okay. I mean,
So
stuff, I
so
guess, already
the
coming
only
out. Some of it official giants, and then some were whatever, I guess.
um so the mod community is really waiting. So what's going on right now with the game and everything? From what I understand, is there's a few fixes they obviously make, but that's just modern gaming. Um, Everybody is waiting on what's called the Giants editor,
Yeah, well, I
and
thought I saw
that's
something out. I think I saw a video I didn't watch it, but some uh some and it wasn't that farm cop; it was something else. Recommended video. Oh, editor. Oh,
Well, but they were saying they didn't think it was going to drop because they were waiting for the first patch because they said there might be something. But they also said they don't know whenever Giants, because they don't know when Giants was going to release it either. Um, but anyways, a lot of the modders are kind of waiting for that before they can start modding. But I'm still hearing the same thing from. It's not just the one big modder that I follow. It's I've heard it from several now that um 25 is gonna be pretty easy to bring stuff over from 22 without gonna be a little bit of work, but for the most part it converts over pretty well. So I think here, as soon as they actually do get they'll have to get the editor, and then everybody will have to submit things. Well, not I mean everybody, but the third party people will have to submit things to Giants, and then Giants has to test it and approve it and stuff. Um, but I have a feeling if it is as easy as they say it is, we're gonna get a slew of mods just all of a sudden just going. What I'm excited about is I can't wait, and I know we're a ways away from it and everything, but I can't wait until maps start dropping because of the new gameplay.
yeah. Well, that's what I enjoyed here. Is my first entry, but yeah, the some of those maps, outside of the stock game.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the maps that have been with Farm Sim for a while, converting over. And then I'm also excited to see what new maps will come out. Because I think Riverbend Springs is a big change from the way Giants did maps. And I'm interested in seeing what that kind of inspires.
Well, you gotta wonder if, yeah, well, like within 22, there was a few more, seemed like more like real places. And I know it wouldn't be in 25, but you got to wonder if eventually because it wasn't like uh newest flight simulator. You can basically fly everywhere and it all looks correct and stuff. Of course, you got to have a horsepower to run.
Yes,
Yeah,
there's two ways to do it. Do you can just do a generic Google Maps, but then there's another way where you can just like actually, for the most part, I think you basically just fly around Google Earth.
but anyway,
That's where the horsepower was needed because it had to
keep
render in
blowing in.
Google
Yeah.
Earth into the game.
Well, and again, I'd say this is a long way off, but I could see a game like this eventually. Maybe not the entire world, but this kind of working similar to that, where it's almost that real.
Well, but so 25 is kind of a step that way because what is considered a 1x map in 22, the base game map is actually a 2x in 25. So they're already bigger maps. And that's, I mean, I don't know. there are so 16x. I tried that on this system, and it worked. It worked fine in 22 and stuff. That's those start, especially depending on what the modder puts in, because usually even a 16x map, they're not just farms. There's a lot to them. The 116x I'm thinking of, like the guy he builds in all this mining stuff, and then he builds in all this productions, and then the productions feed other productions that feed other productions that maybe builds a bridge or does stuff, and you need a lot of horsepower for that. Um, it's just a matter of what. It's just they can just get too big, though. I mean, like,
Yeah.
they can be too much for people's computers. So there's a limit there. It's not like, because I think Microsoft Flight Simulator actually is constantly pulling in Google Maps.
Well, yeah, it's
It's not it's rendering it in, but it's not remembering like the whole world all at once.
well, right. It's having to load it in, but it's not all stored locally. Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, and
And
it's
22 is 20. Well, FarmSim is not like that,
no.
because it's got to have somewhat of a grasp of what the whole world or the whole map looks like. Um, Even if it's not all rendered in.
Yeah.
And it's also got to know, like, even though that field over there isn't rendered in, it's cotton and it's ready to harvest, and then the PC needs to decide if it's not owned by us, or if we didn't pick the contract up fast enough, is it going to be harvested by the?
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah, there's hard drive constraints process.
I'm I'm interested in seeing, like, I showed you the NPC player a little, or the NPC guy a little bit last
Yeah.
week. So I heard I think this was last week, a week or two ago. I heard that they are starting to put AI into NPC players in different games, not Farm Sim, but into some other different games.
Yeah, I heard some of that too. So it's
So that you go up to them to have a conversation, and you'll actually um be able to have like a conversation that the next person that runs into them or whatever one wouldn't have.
yeah, it'll
And
be
I'm kind of wondering if that won't happen. Maybe not the next gen, but in a few gens down the road on Farm Sim. Now that they got
I
talking
well,
NPCs.
I see it could it, but then it would require a connection to some sort of server to facilitate that large language. That'll be the sort of challenge
Oh,
because that's almost how pretty much almost how that's going to have to work. That's that's how GP stuff works. It has to, you know, it has to hit, essentially a predetermined, well, not predetermined database that is processing all available responses to the thing of what it's been trained on.
yeah.
I mean, it's got to have a database of all the words and things it can use, and then that a lot of that will have to be processed. Yes, it can be processed locally, but more or less it's going to have to be processed off site. Otherwise, not everybody's run it. That reason alone, not every not every fast enough to process. I mean, eventually it'll get, eventually even low end ways off. The way, as how I understand, things like ChatGPT to be that real time, not be a delay. So like, I mean, that'd be the thing. Like where here you could like talk to them. You'd use your voice. Well, it's got to be listening, and then gotta there'd be depending on these. Well, and then internet connection too. Might be this delay, and that'd be kind of immersion breaking at this point.
Yeah.
And again, all that kind of crap is going to get better, for better or worse. It'll get better, I guess. If it's just innocent in games and stuff, that's one thing. If they're gonna do that, I mean, that's all. It's already happening to a certain extent. Like for example, in Japan, like dating sim games are like big deal. Like, well, they get that to where it's like almost instantaneous responses, and that could be weird. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, because some people, like you and me, could keep it in context, but some people, what I'm thinking is kids, might get touchy. Yes.
Yeah.
Never mind the kind of degenerates that it could harbor. Yeah, it's stuff like I can see it. That stuff's coming. It just, how long will it take before it's a real like viable immersive experience?
Yeah.
That'll be probably, well, I would say 10 years out, but I guess it, because I mean, even the Chat GPT here, it's only taken a couple of years to get to a decent, what could be considered a pretty decent state.
Well, in one of the games that was doing it, God, it's not Skyrim. It was there's another popular game. Basically, like, I can't remember and if someone said it, I would know it right off the top of my head. Basically, it's got its own. There's universes built into the game, like, and you can just free roam around them and stuff. It's like it would make this map look small how big it is. Anyways, it's one of the big popular games, and that's one of them they were looking at putting it in, so that the people could talk to the NPCs. And I was a little when I was showing you guys last week, though. I was a little. I haven't messed around with him too much, but I was a little surprised because my understanding was because his character name was Grandpa, and the farm that you have is actually his farm. You're taking it over. Supposedly there's a backstory to it all where like he wanted to leave it to his kids, and his kids didn't want it, and so somehow he found out that you wanted it, but you have to work the farm to get it back into shape to be profitable again. And but he's supposed to be. See, when we were looking at it last week, I thought it looked like he was trying to get me to do contracts and stuff. and I was a little hesitant about doing the contracts he wanted to give me um, because I'm already doing contracts, and then like I didn't want a contract that he'd give me for like $1,000. I mean, granted, it wouldn't take me too long to do that, but I'm trying to do like jobs that are like $5,000, $6,000 or $10,000 or something that'll make me a little bit of money for the bank account,
Right.
and that's why I didn't want to mess with him too much more. But he's supposed to at some point tell you stories on the farm, like, oh, I remember when this was. I was hoping that's what he was going to get into, but and then there's supposed to be some other characters around the map, but I don't know where they're at exactly. There's supposed to be a neighbor, which I guess we haven't ran around to see the neighbors on that map yet. There's supposed to be at least a neighbor, and then I was thinking there's like at least another one, if not a few more, but. And then I have played the other map because that's the one that casuals started. Um, it is a really well done map too. It actually has, and they did a very good job of capturing it. It actually has a small city built into it, and you have to navigate. You have to navigate from the farm through the city to get to the port. And it's like it's a very small town, but they did a very good job of making it look like it's big too. Like bigger than what it actually is.
Yeah. Well, kind of like, like this has like streets. But that's kind of the thing. You're talking this be like
This
making
is
it
like got like probably 7 streets, and they're all one way. And like that's just like going, say, the north to south streets. That's not counting the east to west streets. Yeah, it's a small city. Um, and then they like the river bend looks like, yeah, you can combine some of the fields, but for the most part, um, the fields that you get are probably not going to get much bigger or anything. On the other map, it would be like this whole section of fields around us if we would have plowed them all in. You could make a bigger field, or a big kind of mega field. Because I think Casual and we were doing peas, and I think it took us about an hour because it was a bigger field. Um, my thought was, because I liked it, I thought the map was done pretty good. My thought was I probably will play Riverbend Springs until I get to a point that I can't, or I'm getting kind of tired of it, and then I'm gonna start the other map, and um, at some point in time, it probably won't be until next year, but I'll start going back to Out of War again and playing some of those other games. But right now, I want to ride the tide, so to
yeah.
speak.
Well, like I said, my tentative goal is get probably get 25, after the
Oh,
soon
one of
soon
the
after the first.
one of the mods that just came out from Giants that I know Tucker's gonna want it from day one. They added debris piles already.
Yeah. See, but can you like move stuff? I mean, probably not. But I was gonna say that'd be where they got tire track stuff. It's like, okay, yeah. So like say that football sign deal. Say you wanted to move it, or but like say these debris piles, could you alter them like organically? Like if you run into them, stuff.
Probably not, because I'm guessing they're not considered like the dirt on the map. I think they're probably
No,
going to
they're
be
probably
considered
not.
like more like a building.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like you could kind of customize those that are not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I think
already
they're
pretty amazing the way it is.
I think they're getting close. Well, I mean, there was a modder in 22 that made it so that you could dig in the ground, and that actually changed the map. Um, so so it can be done, and they'll maybe eventually they will do it, but they added he might like that too. They added where you can place a building, so you say it's a house, and you actually have to go collect the lumber, and bring them in pallets of lumber, and put it in the drop area, and it'll build, like, say, the walls of the house, and then you got to go get more lumber so that you can do the roofs of the house, and so it's got a little bit build process to it. And that'll be interesting because I'm guessing that means that people are going, our modders are going to kind of figure out what they want to have built. Well, you saw what I sent yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, probably. What and or what?
That from work that I drew.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
That's from, I think it said it what it was. It was at Shinedown's logo.
Okay, yeah. Cut or
So, um, I actually did it for a coworker that they're gonna make necklaces out of them for some family for Christmas. It gets a little touchy because uh, it's a little touchy of a subject because, like, I think it's okay just because it's just us cutting them out for us, but um, if we were to turn around and sell it, that would obviously be an issue because we don't
well,
have.
yeah, but yeah, you're not. How do they know?
Yeah, that is the other thing. But no, they would if they did catch us in it, they would um probably send a cease and desist.
Oh well, no, I meant the your company, because
Oh,
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, literally, if you tell you what, you'd have to be selling only somebody showed up on.
yeah.
But I mean, I see stuff like that all the time.
Well, the other thing is, it's not an exact rip off because I had to change it a little bit so that it could be cut out. So maybe there'd be enough of that in there that'd be like, well, it's based on it, but
Let's see if you sell it like, oh, Shine Down looks enough like it that.
anyways, so I was like, well, I don't know why they're making necklaces out of these. I'm like, these would be perfect size for Christmas ornaments. So I was like, I went in. It's well, there's kind of a backstory to this. We had a customer. He he needed us to make this part for him because he couldn't bend it to the way that he needed it, whatever. So we had to cut it, and then we bent it, and well, his he got the first couple, and then his shop burned down. Well, we found out he was kind of like a middleman because he was using us to build these parts, but he was actually like a vendor to another bigger. I don't. It was a bigger company, but not like a hugely bigger company. Anyways, they needed these parts because their trucks were broken down, and he couldn't make them anymore, or he couldn't do what he was doing anymore because his shop burned down. Well, they started calling us because they wanted us to start making it for them, and our boss or our company told him basically you can't do that because he paid for the engineering time to get this done and everything. And there was a little bit of a fight, but they um finally they come around, went talked to the guy, paid him for his engineering rights, and then they all came back to us and um all came back to us so they could get these parts. Well, since I made this for a coworker, I was like, they had to pay, even though even though I'm not engineering some, they had to pay for my design time. They had to pay for the time to get it so that it could be laser cut. Um, well, I was like, I don't want to get into it with like that kind of a situation too. And I was like, but I kind of want a couple of these. So I went to my boss and was like, so I know we're making these for so and so, but like, can I order some?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I understand. I'm like, I may have to split the engineering time and everything. And they're like, oh no, they're like, we'll just charge you the material.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, I just didn't want to cause any problems. Yeah, Yeah, because it's like no, I didn't necessarily engineer the logo or anything, but I had to kind of make it so that it could be cut out and stuff. And like I said, I had to change it a little bit because the exact logo would not have been um it wouldn't have been very good. It would have been a little thin in some areas, and so the laser wouldn't have been able to cut it. Well, I would have cut it, but it would have been in two pieces. The other thing was they wanted theirs non-painted, and they were gonna paint them themselves. I'm like, I come on. So now I've got more stuff coming from work that's not painted.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to paint them real quick. Don't rust up. Go get the crayon out. Rust-Oleum. Oh, I did get all my stuff designed at work that I was trying to design over my lunch hours. I kept thinking of one. I don't have I don't have the golf ball marker stuff done or some of that other stuff done, but there's been a bunch of stuff I've been working on with shirts and stuff. I've finally getting all that stuff. Like I actually got all that stuff. The the artwork actually done. I just gotta color it. And I kind of did some stuff for the Game Pink charity thing next year. I'm already thinking of that far ahead. I have some ideas.
Yeah. Well, now, yeah, it's the last minute.
Well, that's exactly. The one I'm thinking is gonna take me a little bit to get kind of worked out, and so I need to kind of start it. And hopefully I'll have it done by next year.
Well, actually, speaking of which, one of those game mouse pads turn up. Made
It's
a
like they're so big, and I don't know what else to use them for. But then I got to looking at them, and I'm like, well, they're big enough that you could use them for like a mat, not necessarily, not like a food mat, but like a laying parts out on.
That's exactly what I used it for. That's it. You'll see it.
Average said he got my address so he could send me my stuff. And then he sent a message after I sent it all to him, and he's like, yeah, he goes, You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer now. He goes, their post office went on strike.
Oh, I seem to read that somewhere. Um, oh, I know. I was looking up some motorcycle parts and some of that stuff um comes from overseas, and yeah, the website was essentially closed until the post office gets going again because they're like, well, we can't ship any parts, you know. Yeah.
I told him, I said it's all right. I understand. I said I already told him in casual, I'm not, I'm not gonna send the stuff to him. I'm gonna send stuff to him, but I'm not gonna send it until after Christmas and stuff first. Or I'm gonna get through that stuff first, and then I'll send it to him. Average didn't want his shirts, so but casual won one too. So I've got his sitting here, and then I got to go get the stuff I was gonna send him. But I'm like, I told him. I mean, I told him when they won. I'm like, I don't want to be expecting this stuff next month. I'm like, you're gonna get it, but I've got to get through Christmas and stuff first. We're gonna. I haven't decided when I got to get the nephews or Christmas. Well, I have the youngest. He's getting a tractor book is one of his gifts. I wanted to was I thought well I was didn't get him a book when they were doing the book thing before he was born, so I was like, well, I better find a book that's kind of more about me in a little in a way, sort of. So, and then I'm gonna have to get him another. I don't know if I'll get him a Rob Zombie or if I'll have to get him another. He's growing so fast. I need to get him another rock shirt. So. And the other boys, I don't know what I'm gonna get yet. I have a few ideas, but I'm not too worried about them listening to this to find out. But
Yeah. I was
they
gonna
they
say
come in they come into the Twitch stream every once in a while, but they're pretty sure they're not gonna be in my YouTube. Although my sister could be on my Facebook, but um, with that being said, it's past their bedtime, so it's not like they would hear.
shouldn't be up.
I think I think these tractors I used when they kind of first came out on an FS22. I remember having them in 19, and maybe that's why I didn't use them so much in 22. Um, because I used them in 19, but um, I thought we hadn't used these in a while, or we hadn't used them, so
Yeah.
I always thought growing up these tractors were kind of so cool looking because they could
Oh,
articulate.
well, I mean, we had John Deere 30 that was, but these I always like that slanted front nose and stuff. They looked. In the game, these things are drive. In real life, they're not so bad. They are difficult to back things up. Gotta
I can imagine.
But yeah, they were more difficult to back and implement. But once you sort of got the hang of it, just coming back from a 2-wheel drive to these, it was a little. But yeah,
Actually,
these look
this
neater
is where
at the time.
this is where in the game you need GPS. One of the things you need GPS
Yeah.
for.
Well, especially because you barely see.
Yeah. That was something like the new game. It'll the middle line will disappear after you've gone over it. Or not, I shouldn't say disappear. It'll change to a lighter shade. So you know what lines you've been down and what ones you need to go. I think part of the reason why I thought these were so cool growing up too is because I don't think anybody around here had any, or at least not in my area.
One trying to think. There might have been one. Well, actually, the older. These are a little, but
You mean the white ones?
yeah.
I think someone had a. I do think someone had the white case version.
Yeah. Then later, somebody, and that might have been had a because these, I believe, they bought the design from Steiger,
Uh-huh.
or but anyway, had a Steiger, and those were like a weird teal green type of ugly. They were ugly. Let's just put it that way. I do remember, I don't know if it was 3i or Husker Harvest Days. I swear it was Husker Harvest Day when I was a kid. I remember the company Belarus was made in Belarus was there, and they had an articulated tractor. But I remember looking at it, and I remember Dad pointing out. But I mean, I remember noticing it too. Like it was literally just like a semi truck transmission. Well, kind of like how the big buds are built. That's kind of what they're built off. But at least they're like a tractor. This was like it's like they just took literally just off the shelf parts and from different things and put it together to make a tractor and then painted it terrible orange. It wasn't quite an Alice Chalmers, like a brighter orange. But it just the fit and finish and the castings and stuff just looked god awful. I compared it to other brands.
Well, but
This was in the early. This was it. That would have been in the early '90s. Might be done.
I watched this. Haven't watched them in a while, but I watched a Walker Farm when they were kind of showing the different big beds that they had, and like the one they had it was more of like the first generation, and they were showing how like it looked like it was wasn't a production line one. It was this is where they welded the plate on, and it came that way from the factory. And it's like the other ones, the later years, they got into more of a production rhythm of it. Like the first one was just like, here's the metal, we're putting it together to make this thing.
Yeah, I remember. I distinctly remember those Belarus.
Oops.
Because I thought you were going. Yeah, well, let's go park these. I think that's
I,
about enough. It's late enough.
okay, well the next field is right up here, anyways,
Park them
so
there.
we can just
But I
yeah.
distinctly remember those Belarus tractors because they. I mean, it's kind of. It would be kind of like looking at a Mahindra right next to a John Deere or a Agco product. You know, they just they were built to a price point. Let's just.
Yeah.
But I just was trying to think, and even it's like who in. I mean, and I know it's not just Husker State, Nebraskans, but it's like who in this area of the country, I'm including Iowa and that join us, are buying these kind of tractors. Seem like something for the East Coast where the stuff's small, truck farm and stuff.
Yeah.
But just because, I mean, while they had some bigger tractors, most of them were, you know, actually out here. I mean, they were literally made in the country of Belarus. Well, that I think. Minsk tractor, technically.
Uh,
Oh, my God. Well, I mean, I'll have to send you tractor. Yeah, that's one of them.
huh.
12-cylinder D, 16 speed, 16 speed uh trans. No, I mean, it wasn't hydro,
Yeah.
but it's a four-wheel drive. It, but then they had the. They looked like they were already 20 years old, and they were brand new. You know, just the the yeah. Actually, here's one I kind of remember. This is the size. I mean, it had a mechanical front assist, but and this was like early '90s. That already looked.
You
That
know what? I can put that on my stream. Let me do this. Oops. Show that on my stream. There we go. Then everybody can see what we're talking about.
But yeah, that I mean, I mean, I see that all those kind of tractors have their place, but I don't know what it was doing harvesting. No, I mean,
But they probably like
it's
they
kind of
didn't
like even
know. They
Kubota.
just
It's even like kind of Kubota finally just penetrated the like more in the agricultural side. No, but no, back then nobody no if nobody worth their salt would run a Kubota because just the support, the dealer support and stuff. I mean, they're compact tractors. If you, yeah, other, if you're going to do real work, a Kubota or something. So that's why,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I'd buy this kind of tractor. I'd buy a Kubota over back then.
Yeah.
Because God, where would you go for parts? Or basics,
Yeah.
especially pre-internet. You think about that too. These days, eBay's your friend for.
Yeah.
But anyhow, well, I suppose that's gonna call that a